Hi there, hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's Liz Davis here. I am a nutritionist and gut health specialist. I help busy women with their IBS problems and bloating and all those other digestive symptoms that can really get in the way of day-to-day living. So I was going to talk today about a really simple technique you can use as an add-on to a different kind of any kind of improved eating regime you might be using to help with your digestive symptoms or any other symptoms you might be having. And it's time restricted eating, which sounds really scary, I know. It does sound scary and it can be quite kind of extreme, but there are also really simple methods you can use which are not extreme and just require a tiny bit of tweaking to hopefully get things ticking over a bit better for you. So a bit of background then. What is behind all this? Well, essentially you've got a mechanism that kicks in once you haven't eaten anything for a long time, and this is called your migrating motor complex. And what that does is it's a series of spasms in the gut that essentially get it moving and will be giving it a spring clean basically. So but this action doesn't kick in until you haven't eaten anything for around 90 minutes. So often with this migrating motor complex, this can be the reason behind cases of SIBO. So if you have IBS symptoms and you've been diagnosed, you've had a test and it's come back with SIBO, that essentially means you've got bacteria growing in your small intestine that shouldn't be there. So it's not necessarily down to anything you've eaten particularly, but it can be more down to this to this action not working properly. So this migrating motor complex not cleaning out as it should do. So as I say, this kicks in after you haven't eaten for around 90 minutes. So simple fasting techniques such as going maybe 12, 16 hours overnight without eating is going to be really beneficial from that perspective. And that can just be a case of, just choosing not to eat after you say, if you have your final meal of the day at 6 o'clock, don't eat anything after that until you eat again at breakfast time, or you might want to shift it later and then not have breakfast and start eating at lunchtime, that kind of thing. But the point being that you're giving your digestive system a good break. So 12, 16 hours break to really give itself a good rest and clear out. So that's a really simple thing you can do. I mean, when you say fasting, you often think about, going 2-3 days without eating anything, or maybe only having green juice for days on end or something, which is fine. If your system can tolerate it and if you've built up to it slowly, that can be a really beneficial thing to do as well. But it doesn't work for everybody. A lot of people find this really, really tricky to do. And the last thing you want to be doing is really stressing your system out or causing yourself any more stress. Because as we know, gut health is quite closely linked to stress levels and vice versa. So it's a good one, as I say, to just do it gently to start with and see how you get on. You can increase the time as well. So say if you start with 12 hours and that goes well, you feel better, then you can increase it to 14, see how that goes. So you can really go at your own pace with it. So that's one method. There are some other methods as well, which are quite straightforward. Another one people quite like to do is perhaps restricting your eating to a 8-hour window. So for example, you might do all your eating between lunchtime and 9 p.m. at night and then not eat for the rest of the time. See, a lot of people think it's really important. We've kind of had it drummed into us that we have to eat breakfast before we go to work or school in the morning to set us up for the day. But in reality, if we're getting up and out very early, our poor old digestive system hasn't really had a chance to get going. It hasn't properly woken up before we start chucking food into it, which isn't ideal. So sometimes just by delaying the first meal of the day till a bit later, then people can see quite significant results. They feel a lot better. They feel they're digesting a lot better just because of that. Another good one is the 5-2 diet. Some people find this amazing. So you eat normally for 5 days and then have restricted eating on 2 days. So you restrict your calorific intake on 2 days. So that's another technique. There are other techniques as well, but bottom line is it's really just a case of finding out which one works for you, which one you find the most beneficial, and that you can stick to, which fits in with your lifestyle, which is the bottom line. The easier it is for you to do, the more likely you'll be to stick to it. Also, it's not going to be great for you if you know that you're going to restrict your eating and then, you know, really make up for lost time by eating more food than you would do normally. That can stress your gut out as well. And if you've got a very sensitive gut, needless to say, this isn't going to be a very good idea. So if you know you're a small frequent meal person, then absolutely stick to that if that's what you can stick to, and that's what helps your symptoms. Then do that. Don't deprive yourself and make it torturous and end up, you know, eating more food than you would do normally. Okay, so that's a bit of background on it and a few techniques and a few other things it can help with. Obviously, we've said it can help with your digestive system by giving it a good rest, and it lets it, you know, give itself a good spring clean. It's also been shown to increase our levels of good bacteria, which is another win. That's really great in your you know, if you're trying to relieve your IBS symptoms. It's really good can be really good for weight loss as well. A lot of people find it very beneficial for weight loss, and it's been shown in scientific studies to benefit that as well. It can increase your levels of human growth hormone. Again, human growth hormone is good for your building muscles as well. So if you're trying to get into shape, it's good for that. And it will improve your insulin sensitivity. And insulin resistance is linked to a whole host of health problems, including type 2 diabetes. So that's also another one which is best avoided. And another great perk as well is it can actually slow down the aging process. This hasn't actually been proved in humans yet, but they have done trials in other animals and it has slowed down the aging process. So it's definitely worth bearing in mind if you think that's something that you could do quite easily. Okay, so I hope that helps. That gives you a bit of background. If you've got any questions at all or you would like to speak to me, I shall put a link to my diary in the comments. So do book yourself in for a free chat so I can find out more about you, what you've got going on, and if I might be able to help you. Okay, hope that helps. I'll see you next time. Bye.